So one thing I wanted to kind of connect the dots on, so Shauna and Mike, Shauna, you'd mentioned, some of the practices around reaching out to candidates and having different touch points. And then Mike, you were mentioning some of the methods for people to reach out. I think one insight I'm getting from different engineering leaders is that some of the sort of standard 3-touch campaigns, the response rates are dropping off pretty tremendously. And so the big question is, like, how do you get people's attention? Like, and where can you get their attention? And so what I was trying to think about is, like, are there certain channels that you all are seeing to be more effective, or are there certain subject lines or things that are actually catching people's attention and causing increased response?
I think that's where the science comes in for us, right? And that's why we love platforms like Gem that are able to track conversion rates and allow us to test different subject lines that might resonate differently with different markets. For us, it also really goes back to honing in on our EVP. So what is compelling about this opportunity, and how do we make sure that we can highlight that in not only the subject line, but the first few sentences of the outreach in a way that is compelling to the individuals that we're reaching out to. I would say also something that that sometimes folks will overlook is we spend a lot of time after developing the persona. We call it an ICP, so developing our ideal candidate profile, understand exactly what that is, not only for the organization, but for the department and team. And if you can be very granular about that, then the rest of the messaging usually can fall into place, right? Because we know exactly what we're looking for. We can create targeted messages that might be compelling for that individual, and we'll be able to include that information in the subject line or within the body. Some people are attracted to growth. Some people are attracted to stability. Some people are attracted to a complex challenge or product. And so we want to know exactly what that is, and then get very specific and granular with their messaging, and then continue to test it and iterate over time.
Yeah, I think having the tools that allow you to measure and improve are essential here. And obviously I work at Gem and we help provide some of those functionalities, but you can't improve what you can't measure. In my experience, I think things that I've seen work when it comes to standing out from the crowd in those candidate outreaches, first and foremost, if you're reaching out to an engineer, keep the email short. I think, we see a lot more engineering leaders actually composing and sending these emails themselves. And I think if it sort of looks like it's a multi-paragraph, highly produced email with tons of hyperlinks and images, it might not pass the smell test for an engineer, but if it's relatively short, I think that is going to stand out. And if it gets to the point, people are actually going to hear what you're saying. When it comes to subject lines and trying to get people to open, there's a lot of different things to try. And again, I think the important thing is sort of look at what's working for you with the data that you have available to you. But if you're reaching out to, let's say, a referral or someone who is in network, trying to find a common name that you can drop, I think really does help you stand out. And so, if I've worked with someone and we share a mutual connection that I know to be pretty strong to both of us, if you can find a natural way to highlight that in the subject line, I think that is going to really help you stand out.
Yeah. That's very interesting. Yeah, for us, the obviously I don't do too much of the direct sourcing myself in terms of using the tools and doing it at scale. But one thing that's I think interesting is that we offer like credits to our customers for the product, right? Like it's a custom acquisition. It's like easy for them to try the product before they pay for it. And we've been trying something to offer this to candidates as well, right? Like it's something that excites them. We especially for the referrals. For an engineer who's just started working at Airtable, we want them to have a reason to go and talk to a colleague they haven't talked to in a while, right? So we want to offer this kind of interesting perk where, as a employee of Airtable, I now have this special lifetime free plan to use Airtable, and I can only give it out to a few folks here and there. Would you like to have my be part of my plan, right, or something like that? And the thing here is that obviously one is a reason to go do the outreach, like it's engaging, it's like free, something's free, right? And but also like I think it helps get us along like candidates who are engaged for the long term, right? So even a long lead time kind of outreach. We don't necessarily care for a transactional hire right away, but for a candidate who can kind of understand the product, eventually, fall in love with it, understand the things you're building, over time, and then decide to kind of apply or reach out to us later. So I think that's something that we found to be pretty successful.